Before you put money outside of your business, I want you to take a look inside of your business or your organization. Pause a bit on throwing more cash in your marketing and looking internally into your operations. Entrepreneurs and honestly some decision makers in, organizations as well, they skip over it or they don't give a lot of time to it. But you need to, because if you don't, you're losing money without that being a focus. Hey, I'm Brianna Régine, an award-winning brand growth strategist for entrepreneurs and decision makers who feel stuck and are ready to get strategic about reaching their next level. But let's be clear. In this podcast, we ditch the highlight reel and get into the raw, real stories of what it takes to build a brand from the people making it happen. No more perfect perceptions of success, no more unrealistic expectations, no more feeling powerless. This is your go-to space for the real deal Holyfield about business growth, full of obstacles, funny stories, real talk, self-reflections, hot takes on current events, and must-have tips. If you've got a fresh idea brewing, you're a sucker for new strategies and insights, or you need to be reminded of how freaking dope you are, this podcast is for you. Let's get into it. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Brand Unveiled podcast. I am your host, Brianna Régine. Last week's episode was a chill, a hybrid of personal and professional goal setting. I hope that you guys make your no FBS list for 2025. It is not too late. Your January 1st can start whenever you want. And if it makes you feel better, we're still in January, honey. So let's get into it. Today we're back into more of, I don't know if I want to call it a regularly scheduled program, because the purpose of this podcast will have moments of more personal, less tip driving insight when it comes to business, because that's whoa, words, slow down. We're starting already. That's literally the purpose of this podcast, pulling back the layers of what it takes to build a brand and to sustain a brand from all different kinds of experiences and individuals who have done it for years, who have done it for a short amount of time, who have stopped doing it, gone back to doing it. It's not easy, and it requires a lot of the personal and the individual as much as it does the building the actual thing. So, anyways, today we're going to be talking about operations management, specifically what that is and why your organization is losing money without it. And I'm going to put this in bite-sizable context so that way you can go back to your operations management plan team and hopefully incorporate some of the things that I'm saying. So, to kick things off, before you put money outside of your business, I want you to take a look inside of your business or your organization. What I mean by that is, often I see people throwing cash into marketing related activities, particularly ads or social media marketing, content creation, newsletters. But so often I see ads being the answer to everything. I feel like now that I've been doing this for a while, I'll say just as a side note, ads may be more reasonable as a priority activity if you have a product, or if you have a product tied to an experience or an event. Ads are not necessarily the go-to or should not be the priority marketing tactic for services, because services, you have to package your results and your value. You have to do a little bit more work for that. Whereas a product, you have something that's tangible. something that people can see, and you're building the value proposition around that particular thing. So just keep, that's just a nugget of information. I think I'm coming to realization. However, whether it's a service or product, ads are not your scapegoat, and they shouldn't be. I believe that sometimes people become disappointed when their ads don't work because they were expecting to get money quicker or get more websites quicker. But ads are only meant to reach, ideally, your target audience quicker in order to get them to do the call to action quicker. However, if you don't have clear audiences that you're going after, you don't know who they are, you don't know how they're defined, not only demographically, but geographically, psychographically, and behaviorally. If you don't have that, your ad's not going to be effective. And then also, if you don't have the right messaging, and the messaging should resonate with those audiences, but you don't know them in the first place, then of course your ad's going to be a bust and you're going to be annoyed by that. Also, too, you have to think about the fact that when you see an ad, do you automatically go ahead and buy the thing? No, you take time to do your research, even if it's for 2 seconds. I know TikTok Shop got us in a hold, okay? But even if it's for 2 seconds, you're gonna read the comments. You're gonna look at other users, audiences using the product. You're going to further consider whether or not you're going to invest in said thing with your dollars or with your time. So just thinking about that, I went on a sidetrack there, but all the more reason, if anything, for you to pause a bit on throwing more cash in your marketing and looking internally into your operations. And operations are your back end, day to day activities or series of events that keep your business, your organization, your brand going and flowing. Okay. That's the goal of operations. And it's not necessarily the fun part, which is why I feel like entrepreneurs and honestly some decision makers in, organizations as well, they skip over it or they don't give a lot of time to it. But you need to, because if you don't, you're losing money without that being a focus. I'm going to tell you a few reasons why you should consider some operational choices for this year and being intentional about improving your operations in order for you to get to whatever goal you is. Whatever goal you is, that's crazy. Whatever goal you have. Because 9 times out of 10, if I had to guess what's on your goal list for your business, there's definitely a revenue one on there. There might be a team one related on there. There might be an improvement of current services or products that you have, or diversifying what those look like, right? On the front end, those things may be a marketing kind of vibe, right? So you want more revenue, you got to sell more things. You got to sell more, sell more, sell more, sell more. If you want to build your team, you have to put the job description together. You have to really figure out what it is that you need, and you got to market that job post out there. You got to post it on LinkedIn. You got to post it on Indeed. You got to post it on social media. Maybe throw it in your newsletter. If you are looking to diversify your products or improve your products or your services, you're thinking, okay, what's the market doing right now? How do I uh, remain competitive? What do we need to launch? Marketing, right? Yes, that is true, but there's also operational components that if you took some time to think about what's missing or what can be enhanced operationally, it may save you time on the marketing side. And if it doesn't save you time, at the very least, those two things going hand in hand, the inside working just as good as the outside, imagine how much, I'm hesitant to say quicker, because we don't want to say quick. This is a long-term game that we're all in. But imagine how more effective and efficient you would be. And maybe it might be quicker. You might reach it quicker. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not a guarantee all kind of podcast. I don't be throwing bluff at your booty hole just just because, every organization is different. But operations is really important. So some things I want you to consider so you can stop leaving money on the table because you decided to take a look at the operations within your brand, within your organization this year. The first thing, do you have systems at all? At all. Remember, operations are back end day-to-day events. There are a series of activities that take place to keep your organization flowing and going. Do you have any systems in place that happen? And this is the question I want you to ask yourself to determine yes or no. If you or whomever you have in charge to do back end activities goes away, could you replace someone and they would seamlessly be able to keep the back end and day-to-day activities going? If the answer is no, get you some systems. And if you answered kinda, then I want you to ask yourself if your systems are efficient. Tidbit advice: the lowest hanging fruit way of creating systems is figuring out your categories of what it takes to make your business run on a day-to-day basis. Is it emails? Is it phone calls? Is it processing orders? Is it sending proposals? Is it looking for particular grants or new business leads? Whatever it is, put those in categories, and then one by one, or in order of priority, go through the steps required to accomplish that thing, and document it. Create a standing operating procedure or standard operating procedures. This is what my team and I do for our clients. Standard operating procedures are the first way to create systems, or if you have systems in place, to improve them. They have to be documented somewhere because as you grow, you want to continue updating that standard operating procedure. And you're not starting from scratch when you have a new teammate come in, or if you are looking to revamp some aspect of your business, you already have a foundation there. So document your processes. That's the very first way to begin systemizing your organization, your brand. And if you are low on time with physically like typing out the processes, record it first, record it on video, save it somewhere, and then you can use AI or whatever to jot down the transcript, and you can make it all pretty, and you can hire someone to make it all pretty, right? But you want to get your systems in place. You not having clear understanding of the day-to-day operations, the series of events that make your organization, your brand go and flow, is leaving you money on the table, because that means that you're not operating, no pun intended, from a place of prioritization and therefore decision making as far as what comes first, the chicken or the egg, as far as your goals. Okay, if you're watching me, you just saw me kind of do this, put my index fingers on the side of my brain, on my temple, and I kind of shot them up. Okay, you want to get it out of your head. It needs to go somewhere that's not in your head, so that way you can skyrocket. Okay. Number two, why you're probably leaving money on the table because of an operational factor, is you are either overhiring or you're under hiring. It relates back to my first point. Maybe you're overhiring because there's tons of stuff that has to get done. You're like, there's tons of stuff that has to get done, but you haven't really sat down to prioritize the buckets of um, what's fundamental, what's key. And so because you know so much has to get done, you're just, let me hire someone for that. Let me get some help. But what's going to happen when they come in, right? Are you going to expect them to just figure it out? Which some of you may operate like that. But I would like to think that if you know what you're hiring for, then that means the hire will be cost effective, which is important. You want to make sure that you're utilizing your resources in a smart way. Maybe you're under hiring folks because same reason, it's the opposite though. You know that there's a lot that has to get done. You feel like you don't have the ability to hire someone, not necessarily, I'm not talking about financially, but it's like you feel like you have to do all the things, or someone that's already on your team has to do all of the things. And that's not true. If you, again, go back to number one, if you really look at the systems and what's required to keep the systems going, you may find areas of opportunity to hire someone, bring someone in. So now you have more bandwidth to focus on big picture thinking, which is also really important when it comes to operations. Operations gives you the agency to do to do big picture thinking. Okay, so embrace that. Number three, you're probably leaving money on the table, or money is getting lost operationally because you have poor communication, and therefore internally there are ineffective workflows happening. Okay, operations also allows you to have a clear understanding of who's in charge of what and how, and who's in charge of what, and how different individuals work together to accomplish whatever the goal may be. And communication is required in order to do that. It's really key. It's really important. So if you find that there are shortcomings in, particular departments, particular teammates, it may be hard to hold yourself accountable. It may be a little uncomfortable, but ask yourself if you set the precedent of how things should be communicated. If it's clear on how things are communicated, what systems do you have in place for communication so that everyone is operating one band, one sound? Okay. My team, as a prime example, we use Google Workspace, we use Google Chat. We don't really use text message to communicate. That's just us. Everything has a paper trail in Gmail or Google Workspace, Gchat. And then if we do additional communication, it's through Asana, which is our project management tool. But it's very clear what the forms of communication are. So that way, no one feels left out. No one is uncertain about where they can find the answer to particular things. It really boosts morale. Like, if people feel like they're a part of something because things are communicated effectively, they will show up. They will show up confidently. And when people feel confident and happy relatively about the work that they're doing, then that's going to help you keep them around. It's going to help you maintain morale. It's going to help you um, facilitate a culture that people like and advocate for, which is another point. It was actually my fifth point, but I'm going to jump to it right now. And that is, you're losing money on the table because you can't keep people around. Your team's getting burnt out and they're saying, bye-bye, ciao, sayonara, see you later. Au revoir. They quit. They are not interested in being a part of an organization that doesn't prioritize the importance of automation, systems, communication, utilizing resources as best as possible, cultivating a culture, pouring into the culture, making sure that morale is good. And morale is not only speaking positively onto people, it is also setting them up for success, which is why operations is so key and it's so important. And it's a part of this entire equation when you think about brand growth or getting to the next level. You cannot skip over company culture. I don't care how small you are, it does not matter. You want to treat people with respect. You want to pour into people. That's really important. But you also have to set them up for success with tangible things that they can see, that they can use in order to do their job. And it's your responsibility, or whoever is that decision maker, that leader that's put in position to oversee and supervise other employees, other staff, you have to make it part of your mission to set people up for success with systems, or at least being able to articulate systems that are needed. It's your job. So, you know, get over the hill, cry over it. I don't care. But it's important. Company culture is a part of operations, and no one can tell me any differently. And then the last reason why you may be leaving money on the table is because you lack data in order to make data driven decisions. Guess where data comes from? It's not only marketing and communications, guys. That's not true. It doesn't only come from there. Data also comes from the systems, back end reporting. Make sure that you have ways you are measuring your categorical buckets for your systems, whether you guys are progressing or not. Your key performance indicators are going to let you know if you should pour more into daily activities or a series of activities to drive your revenue, for activities to diversify your products or your services, for activities related to facilitating and maintaining a healthy company culture. Use data to your advantage. And guys, you don't have to come up with it out of thin air. You should sit down and figure out what data is required for your particular system. But don't be afraid to use AI, chat GPT, to say, hey, here's what I have so far. Am I missing anything? Am I overlooking anything? Am I leaving anything out? Is anything that I have here, what's the devil's advocate to what I did put into chat GPT, right? Like if you don't have another person to bounce ideas and thoughts of, use chat GPT, but take some time to think about what effective data collection looks like in your business. So that way, when you give it to chat GPT or you go to another voice, you are not only seeking insights from them, you actually took the time to think about what data is most crucial and most indicative of decisions moving forward in relation to your goals. So those are the 5 potential reasons you may be losing money within your brand or your organization because you're not prioritizing operations. And I hope at least one of them gave you a moment of like, ooh, girl, she is reading into me. I am, because in the same way that I feel operations management is crucial to business growth for you, it's the same over here for me. The stuff that I'm telling you guys, I'm also reminding myself. And it's also one of those things that I need to be reminded of, honestly, moving forward, but particularly this year. Because again, bite-sizable moments. So that way we don't feel like we're going above and beyond to the point where we can't even feel our goal being tangible or reachable. But listen, marketing is important, communications is important, but operations management is important too. So this year, prioritize it, get it as part of your strategization, your organization. The growth of your business will be so much better because of it, because you took the time to even care and look at how things are running internally. And that's going to make a difference in how your business shows up externally. Thank you guys for listening. If you like this episode, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of the things. Also share it with a colleague, a friend, a peer, for who you believe they can find inspiration or insight, different perspective on how they're going about growing their organization, their business, their brand. And I appreciate you guys so much. I'll be back next Tuesday with another episode. So make sure you guys subscribe if you have not. Please leave a review if you have not. And also, if you are interested in being on the Brand Unveiled podcast, you can email info@brvisionaryconsulting.com, and we can definitely look over your stuff and put you in the queue. We're always looking to hear from a variety of individuals across a variety of industries who identify as either an entrepreneur or decision maker who wants to talk about their journey, their brand growth journey, because it's not easy, but together I'm pretty sure we can figure it out. All right, y'all. See you next week. Bye.